Address. Even in a digital world, completed, accurate, and standardized address is important. Clean address data helps you create a single view of your customer, build customer 360 by bringing in relevant demographic information, and ensure efficient business operations like mailing promotional materials or shipping products. The challenge is that it is difficult to manage address data quality. Because address formats vary by countries, address data has free text information, so it's very easy to get it wrong. And validating address data requires connecting with third parties like USPS, and things could be different across different countries. DvSum Data Quality Platform provides a simple, powerful, no-code address solution that allows you to validate and standardize address data nationally and internationally. Using its workflow and ETL-free write-back capability, you can easily set up an orchestration process to cleanse and continuously maintain high-quality address data. The address validation service is also available as an API that allows you to integrate it directly into your marketing or e-commerce portal. Let's see this in action. Let's say I have address data in a table in a database, and I want to ensure data is complete, accurate, and standardized. I open up DvSum. It's a role-based multi-user application. DvSum connects to your data sources, whether they are on-prem or in the cloud. Let's first look at the table containing the address data. So I go under profiling and look at the catalog. So I select my data source, and we're going to look at the customer master table. Let's first quickly check the mapping of these fields to the address configuration. I click on staging, and here I have mapped the address line, the columns that are in the table to the DvSum entities. These entities allows DvSum to understand that which column contains what type of data, so it can appropriately use them and validate and standardize. The configuration looks good. Let's go ahead and add an address validation rule. So I go to, under my audit section, I go to manage rules. DvSum provides out-of-the-box rules for data quality. Many out-of-the-box rules are for data quality. How we are going to select the address validation rule. I give it a name. I select my data source. And we're going to select customer master. The default configuration has been imported. We leave it by default, provided by the standardization service. And let's go ahead and save the rule. Let's go ahead and execute this rule. When we execute a rule in DvSum, it is reading the address information from your source in real time. It's passing it to our address validation service that uses the Google geolocation encoder service. It finds the address, compares the address, applies the intelligence to determine if the address requires enrichment or it only requires standardization, and applies any post-processing and presents the result to us. So in this particular case, it executed in about 20 seconds, 650 records. Here we can see the results, and let's see it in detail. So let's look at some of these examples. All right, so let's look at one of the ones called OK. So as you can see, the original input. So this is the review screen. It shows me the current address that came from the source, the suggested address that came back, and of course the status. In this case, it's OK. So great, I don't have to do anything. Let's look at an example of a standardization. In this particular case, we see the address is correct. However, the address suite 102, the standardized format is STE102. And that is the reason it's suggesting that, hey, the address looks good. However, if you'd like, you can standardize it. What we are going to do is we're going to say that, no, you know what, this is fine. I'm going to skip it. When we say skip, no changes are done back to your source. And next time you bring this address back in, DvSum remembers that I don't need to flag this to you. Let's look at an example of an enrichment. I'm going to select the first one up here. And as you can see, in this particular case, the zip code is incorrect, 91335, and the correct address is 91355. You can also review on the Google Maps in real time if the address that it is suggesting is the correct one. In this case, looks like we do this is the correct address and we do want to make an update. So we go ahead and save. Once you have a comfort level that, the DvSum's matching is accurate, you can also go ahead and mass update information. So I can select a certain set of records and mark them as updated, or I can simply say, okay, these three we want to go ahead and update, or I could go and say, you know what, all the standardized that we have, I want to go ahead and mark them as skipped. All right, so let's assume I've done my analysis and I am ready to make the changes. So I have made 5 modifications and I have skipped 20, and I want to now make these changes and write them back to my source. So I click on commit. And at this point, DvSum is taking the changes that you have accepted and it's writing those changes back to your source system. The source system in this case is a database. Of course, it would write the changes back into through the APIs and other mechanisms to ERP systems, CRM, Salesforce, etc. So if we review, we can see that the changes that we had made, they have been successfully committed to the source. And now my data has been cleansed, or these addresses have been cleansed. Looks good so far. However, it's possible that, as an analyst or as a data management person, you are not responsible, or you are not responsible to actually making the changes to your source system. So you can also orchestrate this process through a workflow. So let's go ahead and add a workflow. And we can say that, okay, whenever I find addresses, I want to make some changes, but before making the changes, I want to send it for approval. So let's go ahead and next. And I go ahead and select next, go ahead and say that, okay, we want to write the changes back to the source. Accept, we turn the workflow on. And now my process, of course, I have to add certain users who will be assigned. Let's assign Anandita as somebody who can approve. Great. Finally, let's go ahead and schedule it. So go back to my rules. I can select one or more rules. I can go ahead and click on schedule. Select it to run on a weekly basis. We'll say that let's run it on Friday every morning, and go ahead and click schedule. Now I have a job that has been scheduled. It's automatically going to run this address validation rule on Friday. If there are any exceptions, it's routed to the person to fix it and overall for approval. And you're able to now maintain a continuous orchestrated process to manage and maintain your addresses. Let's see the API. So DvSum, the same exact address validation service that we looked at, is also available as an API. So you're able to integrate it directly into a portal or your e-commerce or your shopping cart to validate the address. So in this particular case, I'm using Postman, and you can see this is the endpoint for the address validation, and let's send it a record. We can see the results were brought back. And in this particular case, because the match zip code is different from the one that I sent, it came back with an enriched status. In summary, DvSum Data Quality Platform provides a simple, powerful, no-code address validation and standardization solution. For more information, visit us at www.dvsum.ai.